Good afternoon. We appreciate you being here joining us. I'm Felicia Lawrence. Right now, the air travel industry is dealing with staffing shortages and long lines due to the government shutdown. And this is because the FAA has reduced air traffic by 10%. Take a look at your screens. This is affecting 40 major airports across the country. Here is a map of those airports, and the Indianapolis airport, it's one of them. And we're already seeing impacts. Our Jenna Webster is at IND right now with more on what we know. Jenna, are you seeing a lot of travelers there?
You know, Felicia, there are a lot of people coming in and getting ready to go through security. But right now, I want to give you a look at the flight status board because we're not looking too bad right now on these delays and cancellations. We do have a United flight that was scheduled for 12:38 today that has been canceled. But there really are only a handful of delays right now. The only other cancellation we see on the board was an arrival flight coming in from Newark on United. But again, we do know that today this is just the beginning where airlines are starting out with a 4% reduction in flights, and that is going to increase as the next week goes on by up to 10% by November 14th. About 40,000 people fly through the Indianapolis airport a day, meaning this could affect around 4,000 people at the height of these reductions. We talked to a lot of passengers today who made plans to arrive early. A few say they haven't had any issues yet. They're more concerned about their flights home again, as we know that this is going to continue to worsen as the week goes on. But we did talk to one woman who says she understands this is all about safety right now.
We know things are going on. We just are grateful that they're still taking the opportunity to get us through the skies and coming to work. Some people out here are not getting paid, so our hearts go out to them. We want to keep them encouraged.
Our sister station in D.C. also talked to Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy at Reagan National Airport today. He says this is a challenging time for the airlines, but they are trying to work together. He does say that the airlines are probably going to lose millions of dollars over this. He does blame Congress and Democrats for this ongoing government shutdown.
There's a very easy solution. Let's open the government up. Let's pay our controllers and reduce the pressure. That's not happening. The Senate actually is going home this weekend. As many people here can't get home, the Senate goes home. They should be here every day, every weekend, every week trying to find a deal so we can open the government back up.
Now, Duffy also says when the government does eventually open back up, it's going to take some time for the air traffic controllers to come back to work. So we might still be seeing some delays, some cancellations. But the good news is that airlines are trying to really work with you and be flexible. So you do have some options to either reschedule or cancel your flights penalty free. The best thing airlines say you can do right now is have their apps downloaded so you can check your flight status and be able to make those changes. But again, Felicia, right now, not looking too terrible on those cancellation and delays. We're going to be here the rest of the day, kind of keeping you updated on this situation. But again, we do know this is just 4% reduction today, and that is going to continue to increase as the week goes on, Felicia.
Okay, it's going to ramp up, and we're going to stay on top of it, giving viewers what they need to know. Thank you, Jenna, reporting live from Indianapolis Airport. And today, fully funded SNAP benefits could still be in limbo for millions of Americans, including more than 600,000 Hoosiers. A federal judge in Rhode Island had ordered the Trump administration to deliver full SNAP payments for November, despite the ongoing shutdown. But now the Trump administration is asking a federal appeals court to block that order. Judge John McConnell had given the government until today to make those payments, calling the harm to families irreparable. The administration argues that it cannot spend more than what's left in its contingency fund, even as some states like Wisconsin have already started distributing benefits. The legal back and forth adds to weeks of uncertainty for the SNAP program, which helps feed about 1 in 8 Americans. And of course, we are keeping our eye on the weather here as we head into the weekend. It is Friday. Meteorologist Sean Ash is here, and we're going to see a little bit of a change over the next couple of days the Weather Department has been warning us about.
Yeah, and it's interesting. Even today, I mean, from the clouds that we still have in some locations to in about 3 or 4 hours, everyone's going to be fairly bright and mild to some snowflakes perhaps before we get through the weekend. Hang tight, friends. We'll get you through all of it. We'll start with what's happening at this hour with our camera network. So here in downtown, we've seen just a few random rays trying to peek through this cloud deck. But as we go into Montgomery County, this is west of Indianapolis, you can see a much brighter sky there, and that is a little hint of what's on the way for all of us as the day unfolds. We are already at 60, even with the cloud cover and the showers we've had. A southwest wind to thank for that at about 15 to 20 miles per hour. And here's the backside of the clouds. We were saying, hang tight, 1, 2 o'clock. And then by the time we get to 4 p.m., this should be moving out. So hang in there. It's going to take longer in Richmond, going to take longer in Shelbyville and Muncie, but you're already nice and sunny there in Lafayette at 63. And we believe most places won't be far from 70 degrees. But we've got wind chills in the teens to discuss, and along with some snowflake potential, all coming up in the changing weekend forecast here in just a few minutes.
Okay, get the hat and gloves, as the weather department has told us. On to more news now. Police are identifying the murder suspect critically injured by Fishers Police during a shooting in Indianapolis. Officers were searching for the 26-year-old in connection to a 2024 deadly shooting. The suspect is not charged yet in either case, so 13 News is not naming him. The situation yesterday afternoon unfolded near 91st and Masters Road, not far from the county line. Investigators say officers used a device to try to stop the suspect's car, and then at some point in that effort, police confirm an exchange of gunfire with the man. Police say he's wanted in connection to a 2024 shooting in March of last year on Apple Blossom Circle. This is near 141st and Cumberland Road. 24-year-old Cameron Dokes died, according to police. Investigators have not said what led up to that shooting. And police are they're investigating after an IPS school bus was involved in a crash early this morning on the city's west side. It happened around 6:30 near 11th and Tibbs. The bus had noticeable side damage and another car's front end was smashed. IPS says the bus was taking students to Arsenal Tech High School. Thankfully, no one was hurt. A replacement bus came to pick up the students and take them to school. And 13 people have now died in that UPS cargo plane crash that happened earlier this week in Louisville. Crews still looking for more victims. The Louisville mayor and other city leaders held a vigil Thursday. We also learned the names of the UPS crew members on board the plane that crashed Tuesday. International Relief Officer Captain Dana Diamond and First Officer Lee Truitt and Captain Richard Wartenberg. Several people are still unaccounted for. The NTSB will release its preliminary report on the crash within 30 days. And we're digging into questions and concerns sparked by a new lawsuit filed by the Indiana Attorney General against Indianapolis Public Schools. Now, the suit boils down to the school district's immigration policies. Logan Gay explains Todd Rokita's claims and the complexities of this case.
Indiana Attorney General Todd Rokita, with help from the conservative think tank America First Policy Institute, is suing Indianapolis Public Schools. He claims IPS uses illegal policies that restrict how staff can work with immigration and customs enforcement. The case stems from a situation back in January. According to the lawsuit, IPS refused to release a student to ICE without a warrant. The complaint says the student's father, a Honduran national, was set to be deported and wanted his child to go with him, but the child went to school instead. ICE officers showed up at the school, but a teacher allegedly connected the student with an immigration attorney. According to the complaint, the attorney left with the child, and the father's deportation order expired before he left the country. Rokita posted a video on YouTube Thursday. In it, he argues IPS policies put students at risk.
It severely limits ICE's ability to access school grounds when necessary and prohibits IPS employees from assisting or sharing information with ICE. Now, those kinds of sanctuary policies are bad in any context, and they are especially troubling if they're in schools.
It's still unclear if the child is a Honduran national or a U.S. citizen. Legal experts say that matters because ICE cannot remove a U.S. citizen child who has a trusted adult caretaker. On its website, IPS says it will cooperate with immigration and customs enforcement as required under the law, and that it will require proper legal documentation from ICE to enter school facilities or buildings. Community advocate Elia Sanchez works closely with the Latino families in IPS. She says her phone hasn't stopped ringing.
One mother, I remember her saying, there are no criminals in our schools. In the schools, there are children, not criminals.
She says this lawsuit is worsening fears in the Latino community.
Students should not have to walk through the schools feeling unsafe because there's an ICE agent walking through the hallways with guns. A school is supposed to be a safe haven.
A statement from IPS about the lawsuit reads in part, "While IPS takes all legal obligations seriously, we respectfully hope that all concerned parties will recognize the heavy burden that silly litigation and political posturing places on students, families, and taxpayers." In Indianapolis, Logan Gay, 13 News.